Alright, what's going on, boys? It's Joe here. I'm going to do a recap week 3 of the marathon series. Um, Last week we talked big about running some longer distances, getting a lot of stuff done. Put it shortly, we had a lot more rest when it comes to running than anticipated. A lot of that was due in part to just overall fatigue, predominantly in my legs. Hitting the gym heavy and then running a lot isn't something I'm used to. So these first few weeks are going to really be developing healthy stamina in regards to both of those things and balancing them out. What that means is I took a couple of rest days. I did not run a 10K this week. That's going to be safe for next week on week 4's recap. Mostly just because I don't want to injure myself. Really long way out from the marathon since it's not going to be until end of July, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to blow my knees out on week 3 of training when I'm trying to ramp things up. So between that and just overall busyness, we took a nice easy week when it comes to running, and we also started the new workout routine. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I don't know, it might seem a little negative, a little bad. Like, this dude's already given up and it's week 3. What are we doing here? But no, it was really, really confidence inducing, because due to all the rest, I was able to not necessarily PR a mile, because it's not a PR for me, but I was able to run a mile quicker than I have in a long time, and that was pretty nice. So I don't remember if I stopped my watch in time. And I don't remember if I showed my watch on screen, but I was able to run a mile in less than 11 minutes, which is the first time in a long time. That is substantially shorter time than the previous run mile in week 2. So that's pretty encouraging to me. It shows me that while I did take a lot more rest than I anticipated, it's helping up a little bit. So things are still going good, I would say. It sucks to lose a week out of training, but it's important to recognize that it's still pretty good to take that time when I need it, because it allows me to establish good health in the legs and make sure that, again, I'm not blowing out a knee, tearing my ACL out or something. I actually don't know if you could even tear your ACL running, to be honest. It'd be pretty impressive. But because, you're just running in a straight line for the most part. Well, it's not technically straight, I guess, but predominantly straight. It's not like you're doing hard cuts or anything like that, like you're NFL wide receiver or something, or a baseball player running the bases. So different kind of stuff. But yeah, what was able to accomplish, though, despite all the days off that I predominantly have not been in, I've been trying to take a pretty consistent running approach. I was able to get my mile below 11 minutes. That's pretty cool. Pretty excited about that. It's pretty encouraging. Kind of tells me that I'm doing the right things, because we're continuing to improve week after week. And, it is technically probably newbie games at this point, but so things are going to slow down eventually, especially as we get ramped up and closer to time. But for now, it's pretty encouraging. It's pretty fun. It's enjoyable. Final thing in the recap section here is we also started the new training program. But for the most part, this is going to be like the baseline settings. And if I remember to send this to Jake and he's able to put it up on the screen here, you'll see that I do technically have a week 1 and a week 2 upper body split. That's just kind of how my training worked out, where I was able to kind of double up on upper body, but wasn't able to quite hit legs, because both that first week's a little weird. So that kind of leads us, though, to kind of at that baseline now. We understand and can see where I'm at strength wise. Obviously my legs are going to be a little stronger, but it'll be interesting to see as we progress. There's hopefully a good transition into what we're looking at next week, But as we progress, how are the numbers of my lower body exercises going to be affected, if at all? And does it also alternatively affect my upper body at all? Am I able to consistently gain muscle, gain strength? Or am I losing muscle and strength? Am I, how's that going to work? And a lot of that will be keyed into what I'm eating on a caloric daily basis, which I'm not meticulously tracking right now. I am just kind of overall guesstimating for the most part, because I'm just trying to get into the routine of things. And I've been tracking for a while, so I kind of have an idea of like what does 100 grams of chicken have in protein and fat and all that. Not a lot of fat. Definitely in the future I will be, just to get a more accurate understanding of how things are working internally. But that kind of puts us into looking ahead, though, other than the training program and what that's going to look like. We're still building up on that mile time next week. Hopefully we can get down below 10:30. I'd like to get close to 10 minutes this coming week. And then, so for week 4, I'm hoping to get close to 10 minutes. And then just continuing working on endurance. And continuing to develop some better pacing. Because I've noticed I'm still struggling pretty heavy with setting a pace of like 10 minutes and following it through for 10 minutes straight. Instead, I'll like run a half a mile now, and it'll be at like a good 7-minute pace, burn myself out, have to walk for like a quarter mile, and then run again. So I want to get better at actually setting that pace of a consistent, even pace where I can run for a designated time without having to run for a while, stop, and run some more. So I'd like to get at some consistency. And then other than that, just looking at keeping the diet clean. Had a little bit of a cheat day this past week because the wife was gone for a work trip, so I had to sneak in some things that she's allergic to that I can't normally have on a regular basis. But and next week we're gonna have to lock in on that front because she's gonna be gone on another trip. So it'll just be me at home streaming and recording and running, going to the gym, all that. So I'm gonna have to make sure we lock in for that. Make sure that we eating clean, continue to eat clean, and just staying focused on the goals here. Just gotta keep building up, keep getting better, keep improving each week, and just keep recording things because at the end of the day, the recording of the data, it's not like I'm some crazy brainiac scientist or anything like that. I'm just some random average dude. But being able to kind of see like week to week and compare those things and what's going on, like my times on a mile or how difficult things were is pretty intuitive to see. So I will say from a perception basis, things are getting easier to run. It's getting easier to put those shoes on and lace them up and get out there and going. So hopefully things keep progressing well and we can keep moving forward. But otherwise, that's going to be the recap for week 3 of Average Joe Trains for a Marathon. We'll see you next week in week 4. Hopefully everything goes good. I'm already feeling rejuvenated and ready to go, so should be 0 missed runs. And then we'll see how the weights change in the weight room, if at all, any. Maybe they stay the same. Who knows? But otherwise, we'll catch you next week, boys. Thanks for watching, and just throw anything in the comments if you got any questions about anything. All right, see you guys.